Okay, hello everybody. Today I'm joined by Rondi and Nick from Sustainable X, one of our Future Net Zero solution partners. We wanted to get them on board and get them talking to you guys, explain a little bit about what they do. So we've got a few questions for you guys, if that's okay. First of all, let's start by getting you guys to welcome you guys, introduce yourself to the audience. So do you want to start by briefly introducing yourselves and share a little bit about what you guys do? Rondi, should we start with yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Rondi Allen. I'm a Australian, so yeah, you got to get used to the accent. I'm a business person out of corporate, but I started my career in at chartered accounting with Pricewaterhouse, and I moved through all the supply chain, manufacturing, and into a consulting role for SMEs a couple of years ago. So that's when I met Nick. So.
Yeah, and I started off with a civil engineering background, but very quickly went into business management side of things, and for the last 15 years or so been MD, chief exec of construction and utility sector businesses. Been consulting for a couple of years now, and obviously now working with Rondi on Sustainable X.
So Sustainable X is like a business-led program where we really help businesses get on the journey of being more sustainable. So it's really just helping them get started, and that's our big message, is get started. And we take a business-led approach, so we don't come from an environmental background. We're all about, we know what it's like to be a really busy business owner, and we know you need to get stuff done, you need to get it done quickly, you need to bring in an expert and have good results and things you can actually use for the future.
I think the big thing for us is that everybody's somewhere on the spectrum of sustainability. You've got people doing nothing, and you get some people who are actually making a positive impact. And I guess that's the aspiration for everyone, is if every business could be having positive impacts, it's going to be a better place. And we just help them get there. But really the business-led aspect of it is it doesn't need to cost you money. You can even earn more money by having a better impact, and that is our big driving pressure. Identify the things you can do which will increase your social or environmental or economic positive impacts and make you more money. Certainly not cost you money, because if it's costing you money, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, so I think that's what one of the sort of hang-ups, I guess, for SME owners is how much is this going to cost, and what am I going to have, how much effort and time am I going to have to put into it to really become sustainable and make it work. And actually, guys, that was what I found really interesting about your service offering, is that we obviously at Full Power, we've launched our Future Net Zero offering. We're focusing on carbon reporting, reduction, and obviously we get involved in the green energy procurement side of things. But you guys, you see sustainability as a much bigger picture, don't you? You look at many different factors. So can you guys, Nick, can you tell us a little bit about that and what Sustainable X covers?
Yeah, so we do look at it holistically, and you can break down sustainability in lots of different ways. At a basic level, it's got environmental, social, and economic impacts. If you're an investor, some people talk about ESG, environmental, social, and governance, the management of the business. But we then go a bit deeper, and we've got 17 different aspects to look at to prompt people to think, okay, what are we doing here? And for most of our clients, they're already doing lots of good things, and they just sometimes they won't even recognize it as being sustainability. So good diversity, good gender equality, that's very much on the agenda. Biodiversity, it's not just the energy side of things, but our interest in, and why we built the relationship with you guys, is the energy is a big thing. And it does touch on lots of these different areas. It impacts them, and carbon footprint in particular impacts lots of different areas. Health and well-being, if you're polluting the world, you're not helping people be healthy. So it's just almost omnipresent. So if you're going to start anywhere, start measuring your carbon footprint. And it's not that hard once you get going, and the future net zero standard makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. We obviously Full Power have got involved with the Future Net Zero standard, and supporting that as the carbon expert carbon reporting tool. And you guys are, Rondi, you guys are looking to sort of bring that into your service offering, aren't you, with your clients?
Yeah. So what we offer to our clients, and sort of just bringing it to life a little bit, is we do have a workshop model with our clients, and we go through the the 17 different aspects that we've got, we consider to be in the sustainability model. And we check all the things and assess them, what they do and what they can do. And often one of the things they can do is measure carbon footprint. So it's a really nice, if a company's serious about evidencing that they're on a sustainable journey, or they need to provide that information to their investors, maybe their customers or suppliers, then it's really, or even employees is a big one. We'll talk to it a bit later, but carbon footprint is a key aspect of that. So yeah, so that's what we're looking to sort of bring it in as part, one of our key tools.
Excellent. So you mentioned the workshops there that you guys run. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And also, I'm aware that you guys have your own sort of accreditation process. Is that right? Can you sort of talk us through that a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so it's when people come to us, it's interesting where the accreditations come from, actually. So the classic one of the classic reasons for people getting in touch is a customer has asked them, what are you doing on sustainability? What are your impacts? And that trigger point is right, they're already aware of us, they're interested in sustainability, they want to be more sustainable, but it hasn't really made the top of their list, they haven't done anything about it. That customer trigger to say, hang on, demonstrate it, is like, oh wow, okay. And that tends to trigger our workshop, and there's no preparation for it. We then go in and sit down with them for half a day with their senior team and just really question them. But it's more them talking, because it's almost self-explanatory and intuitive as we go through the different topics, and they generate then what they're doing and identify opportunities to do more. And from that, we then go through to a report which just highlights all of that for them. But more importantly, it pushes them into an action plan, which has got business objectives to make a difference to their business value and potentially their profit. And we hang off all these different sustainability milestones, and they decide, okay, in the next quarter, in the next 6 months, in the next year, these are the ones we're going to hit, and this is what we're going to measure. And we can then set targets, and they're moving. So our certification process is all about progress, identifying targets, setting goals, and progressing towards them. And once they are progressing, and demonstrably, we can then certify them. And the certification came because customers asked us, how do we talk about this? How can we tell our customers we've done this in an easy way? Do you have a certificate? We do now.
Yeah, absolutely. That
and I think when we started, we do the workshop in 4 hours, and we make sure it's all covered. No pre-work, no post-work. We do all the heavy lifting. And when we started, we got a lot of objections. I'm a busy business owner. I don't have 4 hours to spend with you guys. Like 4 hours with my top team. That's so much. And the people that say that are pretty much always the ones that either keep us till 7 p.m. at night still talking about their business, or really saying, actually, that was so enjoyable and we learned a lot. And they come away looking at their whole business with a new framework. And that's what's really motivating and really, really fun for us, is the innovation, the light bulb moments. It's CPD for their teams, because whoever they bring into the workshop, they're learning about sustainability, things they didn't know before, but it's all really bespoke to their business. So it's a nice to have for them, and they get away and get the report at the end with the business objectives and opportunities going forward. So yeah, we think it's a good model, and we get some nice feedback too. So
we do. Yeah, the key thing is that it's actionable. And so even one of our clients recently, they do a lot. They're really in a good place, but they were struggling to pull it all together. And a bit of feedback they gave us afterwards was that they've moved further in the last month than they have in the last 5 years, just through having that focus. And it's that acceleration that we kind of bring to the party.
Excellent stuff. Well, yeah, you guys have touched on a couple of points there. You sort of talked about people inquiring as to your services because they've been, perhaps, their customers are asking them to do it. Would it be fair to say as well that, the new generation of employees, of workers, are more mindful of this kind of stuff? Because you certainly see it on social media. Younger people are much more tuned into this. So yeah, what are the main drivers? Are they the two main ones at the moment, or are there any others?
There's a good example.
Yeah,
Nick,
there
you've
is.
got one.
It was just on Monday we had a workshop, and they described they're recruiting, and they had like an open event. So quite a large employer, and they were asked by different candidates in the interviews, well, how diverse are you as a business, and what are you doing to improve your diversity?
Brilliant.
Not very comfortable.
So the new wave of employees are interviewing. We were laughing about it because they're actually interviewing their employers about their credentials and how they're measuring and managing it. So, but that's the key one. And one of our employers, so employees, it's a really important thing for attraction of employees and retention, because people are buying into the ethics and the ethos of the company. And one of our clients said that they have a £250,000 recruitment bill, and straight away when we started talking about this, they said we can halve it. We can halve that by showing that we're more sustainable. We 100%. So that employees is a big thing. Another really nice one is we often get clients calling us when they're looking for venture capital or funding, because the investor markets wants to invest in companies that have sustainable goals, ambitions, and they don't want risk. So they want to make sure that if we invest in this company, we don't have any social risk. There's not going to be, labor, child labor in their supply chain. We've got governance. We don't want governance risk. We want to make sure they've got all the right policies, procedures, they're paying the right tax. They also want to know that they've, economic, that they're doing things and they're ahead of their market and not behind. So we often get the call.
There's not going to be pollution events, and
there's not going to be pollution
China that's related to what they do.
Yeah, they've covered all their environmental risks and things like that. So we often get the call, someone knows that we exist, and then a little while later, when they're looking for funding and the investors start asking, well, what are you doing on sustainability? In 4 hours, we can, 4 hours and a couple of days to present the report. They've got a good answer. So investors is another really big one.
Yeah, and the investor, the language they use is ESG. What are your ESG, environmental, social, and governance credentials? And some people go, "What's ESG?" They're just not ready to go.
About to do that.
Yeah. So
fantastic. Yeah, and then go out
and
the
then
door.
Tenders is another one,
Yeah.
where people are bidding for public sector work, and sometimes they're getting scoring back, and sustainability is becoming an increasing part. We had one client where a major tender came in for them, and sustainability issues was 25% of the scoring. So they wanted to get their act together, because, well, that is chunky, and if you're not picking up those 25 marks, you could be missing some serious business. And the public sector is the big driver of this, because we use the UN Sustainable Development Goal framework. Well, that's a government-led issue. So one of their levers is on their procurement work. Let's make sure all the public procured work is pushing people to be more sustainable.
And I think it's not just acceptable anymore to have a sustainability policy on your website or maybe mention it. It's when you start to get into the next, I think we'll see a groundswell that you need to evidence that you need to be measuring your carbon footprint. You need ambition on your website, and just knowing where you're going. And I think, and knowing the aspects that you can impact, and whether it's employment or education or whatever the topic is, I think we'll see that coming, and that's where we want to help people accelerate. And we love the 1 month in the 5 years shortened to 1 month progress. That's what we want to do for companies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we helped the company that were going for investment recently, and their fear was, and the feedback they had from their broker was, well, look on your website, and you've got lots of policies and commitments, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that put them in a bad spot. Yeah. But now they're in a place where they've got some measurements they're able to backdate on carbon footprint, for instance. So they've got 3 years of carbon footprint. They've got that up there. They've got that evidence, and it feels real now.
So we do write impact pages for people's website after we've done our workshop. It all just starts flowing out, and you can be really visible and transparent. The business can pick the things they want to disclose and what they're interested in, or where their areas of focus are as a business. And we can support them to get that out there. and it's a fast track.
Brilliant stuff, guys. Thank you. Well, I mean, that I've certainly learned a thing or two already, you know, on this call. So I guess that leads into how can our introducers and our clients, how can they get hold of you guys? We will obviously include details when we publish the video. But yeah, what's the best way to reach you guys?
So we're active on LinkedIn, and we'll connect with any introducers. That would be great. We have our website, which is sustainablex.co.uk. If the introducers would like to sign up to our newsletter, they can see what we're doing just in a stealth mode and read more about us and just keep in touch with what topics in the industry. Or just give us a call. Yeah, we've got a phone number on our website. Or an email. Yeah, all the normal channels.
Yes, you might tell we like a chat.
But we're very good at having we always only promise everyone 5 minutes, and I watch my clock, so we stay there. So if anybody wants to chat about it,
I put the stopwatch on.
Yeah, just so we respect everybody's time, because it's not for everybody, but I think it's important that people know we are out there, and so when that phone call comes from the investor, supplier, the tender, or a customer, they know where to go. So
yeah, we're not trying to push people to do this. It's people who have the desire and then they're triggered to take action. So it's just good to keep in touch with people, and certainly they'll pick up from the sort of things we post what the issues are, and then if it becomes more serious for them, we can help fast track them.
Brilliant. Well, I like the newsletter idea. I would implore all of our introducers to join the newsletter and pick up on what you guys are doing, definitely. And I think your service is going to become more and more crucial to businesses out there. As we've been talking about, there's pressures from all angles now on businesses, and not least from the new generation of employees that are coming through. They want to see these sustainable measures put in place. Guys, unless you've got anything else you wanted to add,
I think the only point would be that it all sounds like a bit of a hardship, but actually, exactly as you described, the generation of youngsters coming through, they really embrace this and they really engage with it. And in the workshops, you see the light bulbs going off, and some people they've created a shadow board or a rising stars team, and they give the project to them, and we work with them to help them move it forward. And it's educational for them. They get really engaged with the business. The owners and directors love it. And it's a really positive thing. So I think people can see it as pressure, but actually it can be a really positive thing and enjoyable. We love
it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's, like you said, it can give certain people within an organization something to focus on and get passionate about, definitely. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll make sure that all of our introducers are aware of Sustainable X and what you guys do. And hopefully we'll catch up with you soon.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark.